A year after COVID vaccines became freely available in the U.S., 1/4 of American adults are unvaccinated, and companies and governments and those kind of folks, they're trying to figure out what to do because the costs are high of people who are unvaccinated, and a lot of the people who aren't at this point are just simply saying they're never going to do it. Here is Andie Monet, an expert on small business, a speaker and consultant. She helps businesses create explosive growth without adding new costs or hours to the day. Andie, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday.
If I'm running a business, especially during a pandemic, it's hard enough. But then when I have to mandate my employees take a vaccine, especially if they don't want to, I just can't imagine the confusion and the problems that's going to cost.
Oh, a ton of problems, issues. I mean, financial being one of them, right? Obviously. I mean, there's direct cost and indirect cost. And the direct cost, I think, are pretty obvious. You have personal protection, sanitizers, cleaning costs, cleaning frequency. But I think the biggest challenge and the biggest problem are in the areas that are more indirect, where you're adding policies and procedures to small businesses. You're decreasing productivity, you're decreasing efficiency, you have labor supply issues, HR and recruiting costs. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Well, with all of this in mind, think about it. You can spread a cold, you can spread the flu, you can spread a virus, you can get all these things done. You can do all this. Are we, as people and business, are we worried too much about all of this?
Yeah, I try not to get my personal opinion out there. But
right.
I think the real issue from a business standpoint is how do we minimize costs and how do we still value people's freedom and opinions, right? I mean, not everybody wants to get a vaccine, and I get that, and whether I agree with it or not, but how do we make it work for everybody, which of course, statistically speaking, you can't make it work for everybody, but as many people as possible. Where can you put in policies and procedures that are really going to still make you productive and efficient and profitable without, breaking the bank, as they say?
Well, the problem, too, is when you, especially let's just look at government on this. Let's say Medicare. If you have somebody who said, I'm not getting vaccinated, and they end up in the hospital for a month because of a vaccine, that's a lot of money that has to be spent by Medicare.
Absolutely.
And companies are probably thinking the same thing. Just if you take the vaccine, it will lessen costs for you and for everybody else.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I've read is some companies are charging an insurance surcharge where for people who are not vaccinated, their insurance cost goes up. In one particular article, I read $200 a month because we're not only is the business not going to take responsibility for their consequences to your choices, right? But not only is the business not taking responsibility, but the insurance companies are not taking responsibility. Certain agencies the unemployment, I heard, is not being offered for people who are not vaccinated, if that's the reason for their unemployment, for example.
Well, we've definitely been making it up as we went along for the last couple of years. Maybe these are some lessons for the future. Andie Monet is with us on News Talk 820 WBAP. Andie, thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate that.